The duality of fan culture. How Super Bowl super fans and the boy band obsessed are one and the same. Young women are often criticized for their obsessions and interests, but it's celebrated to go all out for your favorite sports teams. Are the two really different? Every February, the rest of the world is put on pause as everyone tunes in on Super Bowl Sunday.
The Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl champions! Eagles fans everywhere, this is for you!
Even those who never watch football can watch for the halftime show, the iconic commercials, or just enjoy the social event that the Super Bowl has become. But nobody enjoys Super Bowl Sunday quite like those who have followed one of the teams the whole season, with hometown pride or the love of a favorite player creating a personal investment in the team. Fans want nothing more than to see their favorite team take home the trophy. They paint their faces, dress in football jerseys, and get so excited that they're 10 times more likely to choke on Super Bowl Sunday than any other day. But if I asked you to think about fandoms or fan culture, it's likely that sports wouldn't come to mind. Many people would produce lists including fans of musicians, actors, books, or television before they think of sports fans. So what's the difference between sports and other fandoms? Mostly it's the different target audiences. If you were to imagine a typical hardcore sports fan, it would almost definitely be a man.
Limit the turnovers. We got this, baby.
I've been a Celtics fan since 1986, so this is literally a childhood.
But the idea of a Swiftie or a Directioner is almost definitely a young woman. This contrast is the reason that the two different sides of fan culture get incredibly varying levels of respect. A tale as old as time. Ridiculing young women for their interest is much older than One Direction and Taylor Swift. Perhaps the most iconic example of crazed fans is Beatlemania.
They used us as an excuse to go mad.
Beatlemania is famous for screaming crowds, mobbed limos, and even fainting fans. The Beatles were, and still are, massive, but many don't think of them as a typical boy band. Today, the Beatles are respected by music lovers everywhere, often credited with producing some of the greatest records of all time. The Beatles are known as one of the world's greatest bands. Nobody thinks twice when someone lists them as a personal favorite. This wasn't always the case. The attitudes toward the Beatles in the 1960s weren't dissimilar to the attitudes that many hold toward modern boy bands.
Like a show.
Beatlemania was infecting hordes of young women everywhere.
Because
the screaming crowds,
everybody was
limo
out of
mobbers,
hand,
and fainting
and out of
fans
line. Even
consisted
the cops
primarily
were
of
out
young
of
women.
line.
So many
They
didn't
were all
respect the
just
Beatles as serious
caught up in the mania.
For
It was
decades,
like they were
people
in
have
this big
dismissed all
movie,
sort of art
and it
and
was
other
like
media as
we were the
lesser
ones
if
trapped
it was
in the
enjoyed
middle
by
of it,
mostly
while
women.
everybody else.
Patriots.
Because of Tom Brady?
We're smarter.
Do you even know what's going on right now?
Probably just watch sports so more guys will like you.
Did your boyfriend get you into sports?
And it doesn't stop there. If a woman is, for example, wearing a shirt of some other respectable interest, a Nirvana band tee or a jersey for a local team, it's much more likely that a man will stop her to talk about the shirt than if a man was wearing it. This isn't because they want to strike up a conversation or bond over common interest, but rather because people don't expect that women are real fans of the content that she's supporting. If a woman can't wear a shirt without being asked to name 5 songs or list 5 players, something needs to change.
I think it's kind of sad because I think we enjoy sports just as much as anybody else.
Being passionate isn't a flaw. This isn't to say that hardcore sports fans should get the same ridicule that young women get for their own interests. Personally, I'm a huge NBA fan, and I love the Boston Celtics just as much as my other passions. In most situations, I feel more comfortable sharing knowledge and excitement about basketball over my love for theater, romance novels, or reality TV guilty pleasures. I know that if I'm able to list stats or share my perspective on the current state of the NBA, I'll get much more respect than if I went into detail recapping the latest season of Love Island. But this shouldn't be the case. All passions should be celebrated. There's something so beautifully human about caring so deeply about the things that interest you. be it sports, music, television, or anything else that makes us happy. Instead of picking and choosing which interests are acceptable to love openly, we should embrace all passions and celebrate the joy that people get from loving something. Going all out for the Super Bowl makes football fans happy, just as going to concerts or Comic-Con makes other fans happy. There should not be a difference between knowing every word of Harry Styles' discography and knowing stats from LeBron's time on the Heat. Fan culture gives us a space to celebrate our love with others who share it. Creating safe spaces. Deciding that some interests are feminine and some are masculine creates less welcoming environments. Fan communities are built on a foundation of connecting with one another and building relationships over shared passions. The divide between sexes within fan culture means that this pure form of connection can be conditional, only valid if you're the correct gender to be involved in the fandom.
Women have a little more pressure in any male-dominated situation or profession, for sure. I think they're probably put under a microscope.
Men may feel like they can't openly express their love for things that have been deemed girly. But, more often, women aren't respected or valued in fan groups for traditionally masculine audiences. This is true in many cases outside of fan culture, seen as women sign emails with masculine names to get respect, or bring a man with them to bring their car to the shop. In fan groups with mostly men, women are less likely to be accepted as an equal if they embrace their femininity as well as their love for instance, football. A woman always has to work to prove herself, while men are accepted into these groups with open arms and without question. Fan culture has the opportunity to be something great. Bonding over shared passions is a beautiful way to connect with others. We need to ensure that everyone is equally welcome in these spaces, regardless of gender or the interest in question.